Welcome, everybody. It's time for our week 3, unit 3 walkthrough for English 107. And this week we have another writing assignment, a formal writing assignment. So involving APA format and all that fun stuff that we started with last week. But this week we're focusing on rubrics and how they work. So we've already talked a little bit about it, but this week you're going to be examining one closely and really digging into what it means, how to use it as a student, and all that good stuff. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to share two screens. I don't know which one will come up first. Yeah, it's always the one I didn't want first, but anyway. So here we are in the course, and we are heading into unit number 3. So the theme this week is ideas, and again, you'll notice throughout this course that when we are looking at things in an academic sense, we are also trying to extrapolate how to use that in the work world. Very seldom does a project that you have to do at a job come with a quote unquote rubric. However, it usually does come with parameters and things like that they've been, that what you're asked to do for that project. So think about that as you're looking at rubrics. Even though rubrics are very specific to academics, having a system by which we judge something is not limited to just academics. Think of a rubric for a paper being like an evaluation form that your boss fills out for you at the end of the year. Kind of that same thing. And it helps us track our performance. It also helps us understand where we might work on things, where we might get better at things and stuff along those lines. So cool stuff. All right, so we're going to head into the readings and resources folder as usual. And a reminder that you do want to do all of the readings and resources before you tackle the assignments this week, as usual. In the Johnson textbook that we use all the time, we are finally getting to chapter 1, the super secret academic writing process revealed. And then in the Gamble book, we're reading about active reading, purpose, and determining what's important. One of the biggest things that you can do for yourself as a college student is to become what we call an active reader. That's where we learn. That's where we take in new information. Now, we don't exclusively read information. We also watch videos. We also listen to lectures. There's a lot of ways that we take in information, but becoming a good, solid reader is really the key to learning. It just is. So take some time with those. There's also an article by RJ on It's Never Too Late to Learn Skills to Help You Succeed, and one from Stone on Learn New Skills to Beat Redundancy. So those are more kind of along the lines of workplace type things, but skills are something we use in college. We pick up new skills all the time, and we continue to pick up skills throughout our career. You'll use the APA template again this week. And once again, I will give you a sample document that you can use instead of the template if you would like. It'll be posted in this same announcement. Then we have some videos for you on breaking down writing prompts. And I've mentioned this before, one of the biggest things that people do wrong, and I really don't like to use that term, but the reason people lose points a lot in academic assignments is by just not doing what was asked. I think I've used the example before, like if you were in a psychology class and you were asked to write a paper about schizophrenia and you wrote about depression instead, it could be the greatest paper in history, but it's not going to get a good grade because that wasn't the assignment. So learning how to deconstruct writing prompts and instructions like on tests and things where you're doing something, it's really key. So make sure you take a look at those videos. There's another one on breaking down an essay prompt and some active reader coverage, which is always helpful. And then there's one about audience. One of the things that three concepts that are super important in writing is knowing your purpose, audience, and tone. And those two videos will help you with that. When we write for classes, we tend to think of the only audience as being me, because I'm the one who's going to grade it. But I want to invite you to be thinking about your audience as the whole class or the whole school. Like really think of your audience as more of a public audience than just one person who has the grading ability. Okay. So take a look at those videos and then you'll go back and there's an interactive this week. This week, the interactive focuses on audience, tone, and purpose. So definitely take a look at that before before you do the discussion board, because that's what you're going to focus on in this week's discussion. Or, I'm sorry, not a discussion board, it's the journal. We don't actually have a discussion board this week, which is so weird. It's it's almost every week in an online class, so I automatically say the words discussion board, but this week it is a journal. So remember, with the journal, you want to write at least 6 sentences and you want to thoroughly answer all the questions and give as specific details and examples as you can. In this week's journal, you are focusing on purpose, audience, and tone. Do you ever think about audience, purpose, and tone when at your job or at home? We think about it in school because we're kind of forced to sometimes, but we also have purposes, audiences, and tones when we deal with people in everyday normal life, even if it's not in writing, if it's just vocal, for example. Once you've, done all your reading about confusing or what about audience purpose and tone, what do you still maybe find confusing? Or you have any questions about audience purpose and tone? And then of course, finally, why is it important? Why are those 3 concepts so important? So take some time with the journal this week, make sure that you answer it thoroughly, at least 6 sentences, and you will be good to go on the journal assignment. The final assignment, of course, is the bigger one. The deconstructing a rubric assignment sheet is attached here. So we're going to open that and I'm going to make it a little bigger so that we can see it. In this writing activity, you will create a short paragraph that focuses on specific questions related to using rubrics. Throughout this class and your time at Post University, rubrics will be used to explain the important requirements of assignments. By using active reading strategies, reviewing and deconstructing rubrics, you can gain clarity of what is being asked of you when completing an assignment. So this again is just a single paragraph, but it does need to be detailed. It needs to be at least 6 sentences long. You are going to use the same APA formatting that we did for last week. You'll have a cover page, title page, and then the double-spaced paragraph will start on page 2, where you will answer these questions. 1, what stood out to you as you read through the rubric? So give some examples of things that you noticed when you were reading through the rubric. Maybe it's the categories, maybe it's whatever. It could be anything. Next, you're going to talk about what was confusing about the rubric. And if you have no questions about the rubric, that's okay. But I bet you can think of some questions about the rubric. And then finally, what would you grade yourself based on the rubric? Now, this one always gets tricky for people, and I don't 100% know why, but you want to actually grade yourself with the rubric. So you don't just want to say, I would give myself an A, or I would give myself a B, or I would give myself a C. Actually use the rubric, add up the points, and give yourself a real score based on that rubric. Okay. I know that's a little tricky, but I have faith. I have faith that you can do it. The template, of course, is available. You will not have a reference page on this particular assignment because you are not using any research other than the assignment sheet, which you don't need to cite. But so you will have 2 pages probably, and not more than that. It would seem unlikely that you would need more than a full page double-spaced for the paragraph on this one. But, if you do end up writing a lot, that is absolutely fine as well. So take some time with it. And I'm going to show you the sample. And then, like I said, I will also attach that sample to the announcement so that you have access to it. It is already a Microsoft Word document, so you would be able to open it and use it in Office 365 as we did last week. And the vast majority of you did turn in an appropriate document for Unit 2. So I was very excited about that. It is one of the things that that a lot of online students really struggle with, mostly because I think we're all trying to do so much of our work on our phone and we're not relying on a real computer. And that is potentially a problem. Okay. Oh, by the way, before I open the document, Sorry, the computer is talking to me as well. Before I open the document, let me show you the rubric that you're going to be analyzing. It is the one that is attached to this assignment. So the evaluation rubric for Unit 3 will look similar to the one we saw last time. It's broken down a little bit differently. The points are a little bit different. All directions followed, of course, is where you want to aim. And it's broken down by the length, by the questions. Did you answer the questions? Did you include the title page? And then, of course, the category we always have, format, grammar, and mechanics. So that's what you're going to be looking at as you do the assignment. All right, this is what the assignment will look like. You've got the APA document. It's got the page number in the header. I've titled this using rubrics for lack of a better title. You can title it whatever you want to. You will put your full name here. Joe Student is my sample student for today. And we are turning this assignment in on Sunday, which let me double check the date and we'll update that. That would be the 18th. Okay. So Sunday, May 18th. Let's change this out. And that way it'll be all ready for you. Okay. Next page is your paragraph. I have not answered the questions because, of course, this is just meant to guide you as far as what it will look like, but this is a reminder of all the things that you need to do, answering the questions, et cetera, et cetera. And you'll notice there's nothing below that because you don't need a reference page for this particular assignment. We will be having another workshop tomorrow night, Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you are able to join us, it does give you a chance to ask live questions. But you, of course, can always reach out with other questions in a non-live format. That is fine as well. But anyway, take care and have a great week 3. It is a rainy, dreary day here in the Sunshine State. I hope you guys are having a peppier spring day wherever you are right now. Take care, everybody.